hope I learned something. I hope I learned something. I hope I learned something from the stormy seas, from the brightest days, from the darkest nights, from the sunny days. I hope you learned something. I hope you learned something. I hope you learned something from the stormy seas, from the brightest days, from the darkest nights, from the sunny from the stormy seas, from the brightest days, from the darkest nights, from the sunny
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to the Friday edition of the daily All Hat No Cattle News Rodeo. I'm your host, Hat. Nice to see you all. Hang on just a second. Having a problem with the DLive chat window that I just pulled up. Huh. Strangest thing. Let's try this again. Nope. Can't do a show without a chat, folks. DLive chat's the fun one. That's where everybody's at. No offense to you Trovo folks. But I can't get it to come up. Just a second. I let me one last try. I changed to Brave for my browser, And when you close the chat on DLive, you can't reopen it until you go live for some inexplicable reason. I've never understood that. Every other channel that I use, Trovo, Twitch, and YouTube, you just pop it out. In fact, Trovo and Twitch are persistent. You don't have to worry about that. Here we go. There's DLive. Turned out there were some shield, Brave Shield issues with the DLive chat that was preventing it from coming up. Just a second here. Let me get it out of the way of the Trovo chat. All right. But I can't post in it. All right. Oh well. Yeah, this is all good. This is all good. Yeah, it's not working. Yep, not working. Okay, well, once again, technical difficulties reign supreme here on All Hat No Cattle. It's been that way ever since last week. I'm sorry, folks. I thought I really had it together today. I put the show together early. I was testing. Again, the only thing I couldn't do was open up the DLive chat because I have to wait to go live, and it won't work. Okay, I'll leave it up on the left side of the screen, and I may miss your chats a little bit there. Michael Scriven says, maybe the agent was entrapped. Ah, yes, good question. Michael Whitmer's, Michael Scriven, Michael Whitmer. Michael Scriven's responding to my post earlier in the YouTube chat about a certain FBI agent involved in a certain high-profile case now being involved in a certain domestic battery incident. I'll get to that in the after show. Also have some other crazy crimes that happened this past couple days, including a woman in New York City getting beaten in the head with a cooking pot and then having her walker stolen. Hey, Scully, welcome to Trovo. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. I'm glad you're not in DLive because I wouldn't be able to find you. The chat's not working. But good times, good times. Have a few. We're going to go long today, folks. Even despite my nattering along about technical difficulties, got a lot to do today. So let's just dive right in. So let's get to the open here. By the way, no new Babylon Bee articles today. First time that's ever happened. They're all from yesterday and before. But I do have this from their politics section. By the way, don't forget, today's Friday, so we end with the best of FreedomToons of the week. And I actually pulled last week's because it's epic. It is epic, and you're going to want to see it. Anyway, from their politics section, the Babylon Bee, to get kids interested in the vaccine, Biden holds photo op with teen pop sensation Hanson. And there is the sensational pop group in their current form with an insert of the diaper wearer in chief on the side. Dateline, Washington, D.C. After the earth-shattering success of Olivia Rodrigo's White House vaccine promotion, Biden has announced he will be inviting teen pop sensation and performer of Bop, I believe that's how it's pronounced, Hanson, to the White House. Quoting, "I'll tell you what, those three young ladies with the long hair might even be prettier than that Oliver Romeo chick," said Biden to a room full of adoring press. "I've been sniffing out a vaccine promotion opportunity like this for a while now, and I think the Hansonettes really fit the bill." Close quote. According to aides, the plan was to have the band stand behind the White House press podium and say something like, "Please get vaccinated," or "Plant a seed, plant a flower, plant a rose. You can plant any of those, but the most important thing to wear is your mask. Bop, ba dooba, bop, dop. Sorry, ba dooba, dop. Obviously, I don't know my pop music." Close quote. Unfortunately, Biden lost his temper when instead of Hanson, three random men in their mid-30s showed up. "Where's Hanson? What did you do with them? Where's your hair? Did you eat Hanson?" Biden yelled before quickly being sedated and dragged off stage. According to sources, the vaccination rate among women in their 30s climbed to 100% immediately as a result of the promotion. The Biden White House just killing it. Scully says DLive won't come up. Wow, it's up on my view of it, Scully. I promise I didn't change anything today, which not I'm saying I didn't change anything. Doesn't mean it didn't get changed. It is working for me in my new browser. So do make sure you're doing AHNC underscore hat, not just the old AHNC. That might be an old reference in your browser. Just to guess. That's all I can do at this point is guess. Moving right along. The market, folks. I don't know. I don't know what it is with Wall Street. I just don't get it. Biden lied through his teeth Wednesday night. Everything he said was a lie. And economists are staring down the barrel of record inflation week after week. Pardon me. All right. Thank you, PN and Steely Dan and Ray. Thank you. The market is up in near record territory. At the close today, the Dow Jones was up almost 0.7% to closing over 35,000 for the first time in quite a while. The S&P 500 was up a full percent, as was the NASDAQ. Gold actually dropped 1/4%, now daringly close to going below 1,800 an ounce. Crude oil was up almost a full 0.5%, closing at, currently, crude oil doesn't really close, currently at $72.04 a barrel for West Texas Intermediate Sweet Crude. And Bitcoin is again hovering just over 32,000 today, a bit higher than yesterday, currently at 32,321 per coin. But folks, I don't know. By the way, just in case you want to have fun with people calling things on either side of the bell, here we have a headline from someone in the trending analysis section of Seeking Alpha. And the title is Bitcoin's Walls Are Closing In. Okay, that's in the trending analysis. Trending news. Oh wait, it dropped off the page. Let me open it up just a bit here. Scroll down a bit. That was a record close for the market today, by the way. Shoot, it dropped off the page. Let me look at. I hate when it does that. Anyway, there was a quote from an interview with Anthony Scaramucci. Yes, that Anthony Scaramucci, where he said that Bitcoin is guaranteed. I shouldn't say guaranteed, but that Bitcoin will hit 100,000 per coin, and not in the too distant future. So there's two battling views of Bitcoin. But some interesting news regarding Bitcoin. Amazon may be reaching out to the crypto market. There was a report here from Seeking Alpha. Seems that Amazon has a job posting for a payments and acceptance experience team looking for a product leader to develop Amazon's digital currency and blockchain. I'm just reading ahead. Digital currency and blockchain strategy and product roadmap. The e-commerce giant said the new hire will, quote, own the vision and strategy for Amazon's digital currency and blockchain strategy and product roadmap. Quoting the company, as reported by Business Insider, we believe the future will be built on new technologies that enable modern, fast, and inexpensive payments, and hope to bring that future to Amazon customers as soon as possible. And Amazon's up just under 0.5% on that news. So again, I don't understand how the market can close in record territory with signs of the inflation absolutely running away. Once again, just, what was it, yesterday, the day before, I announced the latest job numbers, where unemployment went up to the highest level it's been since early June. And that there are a record 10 million jobs, approximately, open in the U.S. Job market right now. And that restaurants and stores are having to cut back on normal working hours because they don't have enough staff to work all those shifts. Many restaurants are closing during lunch or not being open on one weekend day, things like that. And you see that also in some, not so much retail stores, but smaller mom and pop stores. They're cutting back on hours, many of them. Uh, so that is a thing. And Biden actually told a small business owner, a restaurant owner, during his incredibly hilarious town hall Wednesday, that it's the business owner's fault for not paying more money, thereby meaning he would have to increase his prices, thereby meaning he would lose business, and inflation would just keep running away. And thank you for the birthday wishes, Hat. Thank you. Okay, but anyway, so there was a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal. I believe it was this morning. Could have been yesterday. I'm not quite sure on the date, but it was within the last 24 hours. Put up by the Job Creators Network, a conservative business group. And what you have here is a picture of Smiling Joe adjusting his tie in a mirror, but the reflection shows none other than Jimmy Carter. And it is titled, "Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, Who Will Be the Most Economically Destructive of Them All?" Once upon a time, there was a president named Jimmy Carter. His misguided economic policies led to high inflation, soaring gas prices, and job loss. Sadly, Democrats have created Jimmy Carter 2.0 in the form of President Joe Biden. With calls for unprecedented government spending and tax increases, Biden has the potential to hurt the country even more than Carter did. And it ends with this: working Americans won't live happily ever after with runaway government spending and debt. Took me a little while to find that, by the way. It wasn't easy to dig up, but I was able to find it actually on Job Creators Network website itself. So I'm glad I was able to pull it up. But that, again, a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal. So I've been covering Cuba a lot, as it deserves. And you guys know I have said unequivocally that we need boots on the ground in Cuba, period. I want armed personnel in there to protect the Cuban people and to help them transition into democracy. We keep saying that's what America's behind, to create democracy in embattled nations and in impoverished nations. We want to bring the American experience to the world, which is why we've spent trillions of dollars in the Middle East trying to get Arabs who are tribal to become nationwide citizens. But now you've got Cubans who have a very strong love of country, and some of them know what democracy was like. Remember, Batista was running for re-election when Castro overthrew the government. Castro said, "We did this because Batista was going to cheat and give himself the presidency. So we just did this to stop that overthrowing of democracy, and we're gonna provide free and fair elections." And then he proceeded to become a dictator, kill tens of thousands, if not more, of Cubans, of course, with his handyman, Che Guevara, who loved shooting people himself. That's why he's so popular among youth, because he's such a great insane killer. Was until I think the Colombians, El Salvadorans took him out. But I really think we have a duty to save the Cuban people. So I saw this headline from the American Conservative that congressional Republicans are seeking to give Biden war powers for Cuba. And I thought, wow, I may actually get my wish. No. So there's been some leaks to the American Conservative from West Virginia GOP Rep Alex Mooney's office. And it says that he's planning to introduce a congressional joint resolution to grant war powers to Biden, but it has nothing to do with military. Here are the three things. Ensure the delivery of humanitarian aid to the people of Cuba, including but not limited to food, water, and medicine. Create a safe zone in Cuba for the Cuban people to safely receive humanitarian aid, and prevent humanitarian aid from being stolen by the Cuban government or its forces. You could read into that as saying we wanted a military presence, but I was looking for a more explicit call for it. I don't want to read into something from a West Virginia congressman's letter. I mean, I really don't know what he means by a safe zone and preventing humanitarian aid from being stolen. It's wishy-washy. But the article also says that there have been some Republican senators, including Rick Scott from Florida, who have been meeting with representatives of Amazon, Facebook, Google, Verizon, and the Wireless Communication Trade Association, CTIA. And that's hopefully, it seems that that would be discussions as to how to get internet access to Cuba. And as I explained just the other day, there is technology sitting there where we could put a high altitude balloon in international waters that would be able to provide internet service to the entire island. It's called Google Loon. And the only reason it isn't an active project right now is that there really wasn't a market for it. But we would not have to invade anyone's airspace. It could be done in international waters with a tethering ship, as I understand it. No trouble whatsoever. And that was from an interview with one of the Republican commissioners on the FCC, Federal Communications Commission. He's quite familiar with the technology. So we could do that right now. We wouldn't need congressional approval. But I don't know. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. It's a step forward, but not where I would like it to be. Ray says in the D-Live chat, Jimmy Carter was nowhere near as bad as 46 asterisk was or ever could be. I do see your point, Ray. I do see your point, because Carter, it took him a while to be that bad. It didn't start out that way. He needed to get a little momentum going before things started to go to hell. Whereas with Biden, day one, it was, I'm going to ruin this country, watch me. I have a pen. I have a bunch of things that people have been putting together since probably October of 2020. And by God, I'm going to sign every one of them, whether or not I know what they say. So that is a fair point, Ray. That is a fair point. So this is an article from the Daily Caller by David Hookstead. And the title's simple. Bill Maher says America is too, quote, politically correct and, quote, too sensitive. Okay, fine. Bill Maher's been coming out and hitting the left fairly regularly for a while now. And he gets a lot of laudatory press in the conservative media for it. And I disagree with that praise completely, because Bill Maher is part of the problem, not part of the solution. Bill Maher is one of the reasons that politically correct culture and snowflake Democrats are as pervasive as they are. They're like kudzu because of people like Bill Maher. Now he's seeing it hurt the party. Now he's against it. It's not that his morals are being offended. He's seeing his political power diminishing. At least that's my take on it. So I do not like to do stories about where Bill Maher came out on his HBO show and said something actually legitimately correct about the direction America's headed, because he's part of the reason we're at the place we are now. Too little, too late, in my opinion. Now, that could be harsh. That could be harsh for you. That's fine. I've never said I'm the only person who knows what's going on around here. I can be wrong often and early. But I just don't think Bill Maher deserves any respect from anyone on the right for, quote unquote, taking a stand. Where was he 5 years ago? when this was really kicking off. He was right there along with it. So I purposely didn't cover really anything from the Biden town hall Wednesday because, first of all, no one watched it except really people who wanted to critique it. That's where the vast majority of the audience came from. And I've got a picture from the place where it was held that will make you laugh your ass off. And I'm sure you've seen, if you watch anything on Fox News or the Daily Wire or the News and Why It Matters, all favorite shows of mine, you've seen very in-depth coverage of Biden's complete loss of train of thought, where he babbled incoherently for about 15 straight seconds. And 20 really, and it made no sense whatsoever. Don Lemon had to try and tease a little bit of meaning out of it, and even then it didn't help at all. Again, and the continuous lies, his calling for banning any gun that could shoot, 20 rounds, 30, 50, 120, that's a direct quote, that we should ban all those guns. Because you don't need that many bullets, according to Joe Biden. The man who recommended firing a double-barrel shotgun in the air if someone trespassed on your property, and if they were beating on your door, to just shoot through the door. Both of which are entirely illegal and can get you in serious trouble in pretty much any municipality in the country. You might be able to pull the shotgun part off in the country, but as far as shooting through the door, that's at best aggravated manslaughter if you kill him, and aggravated assault if you don't, at best. But the numbers for the ratings came out, and it's hilarious. This is my favorite part, because we all know Biden has no brain. That's just every day adds to the pile. So it's not news that he's incoherent. It's also not news that he's a complete inveterate liar. But it is news when his town hall, which was plastered all over CNN for at least a week leading up to it, hosted by their incredibly popular, according to them, Don Lemon, it got beat in its slot by regular programming on Fox. Sean Hannity had a town hall in Florida with Governor DeSantis and some South Florida Congress critters regarding Cuba. That pulled in huge numbers. But Laura Ingram's show was on during part of the Biden debacle too, and she completely outdrew him. And she just had a regular show. Even MSNBC, with regular programming, outdrew CNN Wednesday night. So, here are the numbers. This is from Bloomberg, by the way. CNN struggled to attract an audience for its exclusive town hall event with Biden on Wednesday night, with the event trailing Fox News' regular programming. The cable news network averaged fewer than 1.5 million viewers from 8 p.m. to 9:30 Eastern, with 306,000 in the 25 to 54 demo. That compared with 2.7 million for Fox News, with 464,000 in the key demo, and that's according to Nielsen. Yeah. That the demo there, 306,000 versus 464,000. That's basically 50%, if I can do the math. No, it's not 50%. I'm sorry. I can't do the math. Maybe 30% higher for regular programming versus a massively promoted town hall with whom we are told is the most popular president in U.S. history. Got more votes than any other person running for president. So, it was a landslide, folks. even though Biden only won in the 3 key states that put him over the top in the Electoral College by a collective, I believe, 11,000 votes, a smaller margin than what Trump won by in no, not 11,000 votes. I'm sorry. His margin of victory in the 3 key states in 2020, that number was smaller, this I know, than the number that Trump won by in the 3 key states when he beat Hillary in 2016. That much I know. I think it was more like a 35,000 as opposed to 42,000, something like that. But it was smaller. But here, speaking of smaller, here's the audience at the height of the show. This is taken from the back of the auditorium in Cincinnati. Why Cincinnati? Seriously? And you've got a huge stage with Biden and Lemon dwarfed by the backdrop, and you can see the crowd is all bunched up in the middle and on a stage right. And if you look at the shots from mainstream media of the event, they all only show the center crowd or a bit of a pan from the center to stage right. That's it. And if you look at stage left here, there are maybe, 35 people, 40 people tops on that side of the stage. They probably were able to lay off 2/3 of the Secret Service detail because of that crowd size. And I'm only saying that partially facetiously. Partially. I'm floored by it. I'm absolutely floored by it. And again, this isn't a rally in 2020 when there were no vaccines, when people were afraid to get out of their cars. They would sit in their cars at Biden rallies and honk, whereas Trump would draw tens of thousands of people in crappy weather and hold them in the palm of his hand for 2 hours sometimes, at least an hour. No notes, no prompter. Pardon me, yes prompter, I'm sorry. I always believe Trump didn't use the prompter because he went off prompter so often, it was like he wasn't using it. But he did use a prompter. That is my bad. Fake news on Hat, fake news. Trump did use a prompter, but he went off it beautifully. Whereas Biden, if he goes off his notes, you can't understand what he's saying. And that's one sentence. But yeah, look at that lack of crowd. So, state news. We'll move along east to west. First, just south of me in Chicago, article from an outlet I've never been to before, the Independent Chronicle. And I actually have 2 stories from them today. This is the first one I found. This is from yesterday by Thomas McDonald. You may remember last year, it was all the rage to take down statues. It got started midterm Trump, the Unite the Right rally, Charlottesville. Antifa took over the event. Police were nowhere to be found. Heather Heyer died after being hit by a car. That was all the right's fault. All the right's fault. But then Trump said, next they're going to come for Jefferson, they're going to come for Washington, they're going to come for Lincoln. And that's exactly what happened. Now, Christopher Columbus was getting a lot of bad press for probably 15 years as of late. The whole, mass murderer, colonialist, raped the land, yada, yada, yada. And good afternoon, Twin Crier. Nice to see you. And cities were canceling their Columbus Day parades or turning them into, original, oh gosh, they had so many names for them, Original People's Parade, or things like that, trying to say that, again, Columbus stole the Americas. He's the reason that the Indian tribes aren't, ruling the lands and raping and pillaging and eating each other like they were before we showed up. But Columbus statues were getting removed last year, right and left. And the one in Chicago has been there for a long time. And Chicago has a very active Italian-American community. And that's one of the few communities that will still stick up for Columbus. And the statue was attacked by rioters last year, and a number of police officers were injured during the riot when they tried to protect the statue. And you can see in this picture from the article how it's coated in paint. It was taken down by the city not long afterwards, within a week if I'm not mistaken, without any mention whatsoever that it was going to happen. Just within an hour, the statue was gone. And I'm happy to say that a lawsuit has been filed. This is quoting Ron Onesti, president of the Joint Civic Committee of Italian Americans, the JCCIA. Quote, "We are 3 days shy of the 1-year anniversary of when the statues came down. We've been trying to be communicative. We've been trying to be respectful to the city and the Park District. However, their lack of response has caused an unavoidable action of this litigation. And we are not going away anytime soon. This is something near and dear to the hearts of our Italian-American community, but what started as an Italian-American thing has blossomed into something that is affecting all ethnic groups. What happened to our Italian-American community today can happen to any other group tomorrow." Close quote. The group claims the removal of the monument violates a nearly 50-year-old agreement between them and the Park District that says it must obtain written consent from the group, quote, "before making any substantial change to Columbus Plaza or Columbus statue." And that is the place, Columbus Plaza. It wasn't just a statue in the middle of some random Chicago park. It was dedicated to Columbus. Continuing the quote, "It is believed that Mayor Lightfoot ordered the removal of the 3 Columbus statues, claiming it as a safety measure during protests and civil unrest. It was to be temporary, and the JCCIA's position is that a year is long enough. We worked out a contract in 1973 with the Park District after the statue and plaza was built. The contract agreement basically says any alterations of the statue or plaza must have the written consent of the Columbus Statue Committee, and that removing the statue was a clear breach of contract." They said they've been reaching out to the mayor and the Park District over and over again, trying not to go to court, but they would not, the city would not respond. "Pulling down the monument at 3 a.m., quoting Onesti, "without any interaction with our community was not the way to go. That would be like ending the St. Patrick's Day parade without warning or explanation. No other ethnic group would allow something like this to happen." This part I didn't get to in the article, so this is new to me. Mayor Lightfoot announced earlier this year that more than 36 monuments, memorials, and public art pieces would be assessed for possible removal throughout the entire city over fears that they may be offensive to some. The city formed a Monuments and Memorials Advisory Committee to assess each one individually. Well, I'm sure the Picasso statue is going to have to go down, because that is an unfair comment on untraditional beauty. My take on it. Hey, Scully, you made it to D Live. Awesome, awesome. Skullcram asks regarding Biden, you sure he knows he's president? Well, he did say in another CNN town hall that every day he wakes up and says, I asked Jill, where are we? And he meant it as a joke. But when Trump would make a joke like that, it was immediately taken as an admission of a problem. But Biden says it and everybody laughs. So now, I got some good news here. I saw an ad last night on Handy, and political ad. And I have to admit, I haven't been moved by a political ad like this one I'm about to show you, since Kim Klasik's first ad when she was running for Congress out of Baltimore. A seat, by the way, that the Republican National Committee gave her absolutely zero support in trying to win. The RNC said, it's too fluid district, you don't have a chance, we're not going to waste any money on it. Perfect way to create outreach to the communities that need the Republican message the most. RNC have a big problem with that. They said, come 2022, at the lead up to it, I should say, they're making massive outreaches to the minority communities. Well, let's hope, because you had a chance back in 2020 and you blew it when it came to Kimberly Klasik. Anyway, though, my favorite person of the hour now is Eli Crane. Here's a picture of him, an article from Breitbart by Jacob Bliss. It's from a couple days ago, but I just saw Eli on Handy last night for the first time. And he has launched a campaign for a congressional seat, a U.S. congressional seat in a battleground district in Arizona. And you can see here, he is not a conventional politician, but that is the rule now. Conventional politicians are on the way out. People are looking for honest, sincere, real people. Look at Larry Elder. His numbers are small, but he is leading in the polling to replace Gavin Newsom as governor of California. The majority of Californians are still undecided. The race hasn't really kicked off in earnest yet. By the way, as Electric Dog pointed out to me yesterday, Larry is in fact on the ticket. My wife confirmed that. He was initially told he could not be on the ticket because he didn't comply with the filing regulations, and a judge ruled quite quickly, that's wrong. Larry's on the ticket, and screw you, California. And Larry's jumped out into the lead. He's only polling, I think, about 17% right now, but the next closest Republicans are in single digits, low single digits. So we'll see what happens there. And I don't think I've had a chance to donate to Larry yet, but I have donated to Eli Crane's campaign, and I'll show you the link to that in a moment. But you gotta love a guy who does interviews wearing a Sig Sauer t-shirt, as he did last night on Handy. And his video shows him wearing a Chris Kyle Memorial Event t-shirt. But he is a former Navy SEAL. He owns a business called, what's it, Bottle Busters? It's in his ad. He makes awesome bottle openers out of 50 caliber brass and bullets. They're just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And he's going after what's the name? A former Navy SEAL, if I didn't say it. Going after O'Halloran is the guy's name. I don't know who that is. Tom O'Halloran, Democrat. Crane says he's the only candidate well-positioned to defeat O'Halloran. Arizona's 1st district was one of the 30 with a Democrat member of Congress where former President Trump won in last year's election. The district is rated a Republican +2 district. After the September 11 attack, Crane enlisted in the Navy and achieved his lifelong dream of becoming a Navy SEAL. He went on to serve 5 wartime deployments, 3 of them were in the Middle East with SEAL Team 3. He served for 13 years. So here's the video. So, two things there. First of all, you'll notice he said, "I'm ready to fight for us." Normally the tagline is, "I'll be fighting for you." So I thought that was really unique. I like that a lot. Maybe other politicians are using that, but I haven't heard it until just now. But the other thing is, this tat. I mean, obviously, Eli is not afraid of the tattoo needle. This guy has got some serious ink going on here. But that "We the People" tattoo, that's real. That is not artwork superimposed onto an image of his forearm. That is a real tattoo. He showed it off on Hannity last night. And that's some serious tattoo work too. That looks to me to be a very good representation of how those words are written at the top of the Declaration of Independence in the National Archive copy. So cool ad. Obviously he's a long shot, but it is an R+2 district. If he can get the RNC behind him, I mean he's a major Trump pick. Trump hasn't picked him, but he would be right up there on any list that Trump would look at. But the one thing I had with the ad is that those are the same old Republican talking points. The only one in there that was really new was election integrity. I'm not saying those are bad things. Don't get me wrong. I'm behind every one of those. But it would be nice to get something a little more unique, a little more out there, to set yourself apart from any other cookie cutter Republican. Because I mean, every Congress critter in the U.S. right now who's running for re-election as a Republican could use those exact same words, images, everything, and you couldn't tell the difference. But I do like the guy. I have to admit, he seems to be a very honest, very upfront character, and I appreciate that. So here is the link for Eli. It's very simple. I'll put it in all the chats. I sent him a few bucks, and happy to. Hopefully you can do the same. Remember, my superpower is spending other people's money. And we've got, Arizona well represented here on All Hat No Cattle. So maybe you guys can see fit to helping Eli Crane out. If not with money, perhaps, helping out in the campaign somehow. But let's not forget that one of the things that drives YouTube is views, likes, and comments. So please look for Eli's video on YouTube, and it's from the 20th, so it's not brand new. But give it a like and put in a comment, even if it's just "God bless you, Eli," because the more likes, the more comments, the better videos show up in the algorithm on YouTube. And if that's all you can do, that would be great. But here's hoping. We'll try to keep an eye on Eli Crane and see how he's doing. So as I teased already, Larry Elder is on the California recall ballot. He did get put on after the election board tried to block him, saying he did not comply with the tax records regulations. And Larry went to court immediately. Larry's a lawyer. He's a trained lawyer. And he put it out there that I followed the rules, because the rules that the election clerk was trying to hold him to are not valid for recall elections. They are only good for primary runs. And of course, the law, you may remember, was the one that requires candidates to submit 5 years of tax returns. And that was put in place specifically to force Trump to put out his tax returns. And I was talking with Picasso earlier today, and I said, you know what? If Trump runs in 2024 and California says, hey, you got to give us your tax returns to get on the primary ballot, or we won't put you on it. If I were Trump, I would say, you know what? I don't need California to get the nomination. I'll just fine. Have your own election without me. I'll be a write-in candidate. And he would set a record for write-in in California, an absolute record. I would, if I were on his campaign, I would advise him to do that, just to thumb his nose at California. But according to a statewide poll of over 1,000 registered voters, article, by the way, from justthenews.com by Ava Castelli, could be Ava for all I know, Larry's polling at 16% right now. And that puts him by far and away in front of any other Republicans. The only other two that are showing up in the polls right now are John Cox and Kevin Falconer, and they're both tied at 6% each. But 53%, pardon me, of the respondents said they were undecided. But yep, Larry went after the election board, and the judge said, no, he's on. Shut up. Sit down. So good for Larry. Good for Larry. I have to admit, I didn't see this coming. This one's pretty good. Article from the postmillennial.com. I read it right. By Eli, could be Ellie for all I know, Canton Nantel out of Ottawa. The Senate Armed Services Committee has approved a proposal that would force women to register for the draft, for the U.S. draft. Some of you may know there is still a draft in that you have to sign up. When you turn 18, you have to register with the Selective Service Department, organization, whatever the feds call it now. And if you haven't registered by, I think you have a year or 2 years once you're eligible, and otherwise they could arrest you. The draft is specified right now for males between the ages of 18 and 25. Now, of course, the military has been all volunteer for quite some time, but women have been approved for combat roles. Ladies in the audience, no offense, but I completely disagree with that. Men have a survival instinct that is only trumped by protecting the women. That is genetic. That is part of our society for 100,000 years. Protect the women. Without the women, there is no society. And so a woman in combat would draw more attention from the men than other men would, just by pure nature of being human. Not to mention different biological needs that women have when they are young versus what men have. I don't want to get gross, but you all know what I'm talking about. But that is, women in combat is a thing. It has been approved. Now, the military is talking about once again revamping its physical fitness uh, qualifications because the last time they set it up, uh, many women failed. Some over 50% of women failed the current version of the PT test in the Army. At least 50%. I'm thinking it was a lot higher than that. You guys know how I am with numbers. But the number of men who failed were about 7%. Huge disparity. And so the Army specifically is talking about once again revamping the physical requirements in order to keep women from washing out. Not to make it so that we have the most fit, combat effective people on the front lines, but to achieve equity. Great way to ruin a fighting force, equity, as opposed to can they kill more than they're killed. But that the SAAC is saying that they're going to add a provision to the National Defense Authorization Act that would amend, quote, military selective service to require registration of women for selective service. And I suppose that's only fair. There was big discussion when the suffragette movement was getting underway. Because at the time, if you wanted to vote in a lot of communities, you had to be part of the fire department or part of the civilian response team for disasters or things like that in the community. So it was basically service. What's that thing from Starship Troopers again? Service Guarantee Citizenship, I believe is what it was. Women were saying, in fact, the majority of women were saying, we don't want the vote because we don't want to have to do all this dirty work. But the suffragettes prevailed, and men in Congress, white men in Congress, passed the law. The amendment went out to the states. It was ratified, and boom, women got the right to vote. But they did not have to sign up for the draft, and they did not have to sign up for the fire department. Well, chickens have come home to roost. So we'll see how this goes over. Little Catholic news. Big thing I've been talking about for a long time now is Democrats calling themselves devout Catholics. Not just Catholics, but devout Catholics, and supporting abortion. It was a talking point during the campaign. We all know that Joe Biden was once refused communion at a mass because of his backing abortion. That was back some years ago. And I talked to you earlier this year about a possible encyclical, I believe that's the term for it, coming down from the Conference of U.S. Catholic Bishops about giving Catholics who openly support abortion communion. And remember, communion is one of the major sacraments in the Catholic religion. And sacraments are what keep you in good faith and keep you in good stead with the church. If you're not fulfilling the sacraments, you're not doing your job. Going to Mass, sacrament. Confession. Remember, in the Catholic Church, you go to a priest for confession. You can't just absolve yourself of your sins through prayer like you can in some Protestant faiths. One of my dad's big bugaboos with the Catholic Church, by the way, was going to confession. He felt you should be able to do it on your own. But abortion has been the number one thing that the Catholic Church has been against. Each pope sometimes is a little different on social issues. Pope Francis right now is a complete heretic. He needs to be burned at the stake. Figuratively, YouTube, figuratively. But abortion, no wiggle room, ever. And Pelosi, just the other day, started babbling about the Hyde Amendment and how it needs to be left out of the next budget. You remember the Hyde Amendment has been constant for I don't know how many, over a decade, 2 decades. And the Hyde Amendment basically bans federal funding for a certain amount of abortion services. It's never been completely pulled, but it did ban certain federal funds from going towards abortion. And Biden had always voted for it. Pelosi had always voted for it. But now they're out against it, openly out against it, both Biden and Pelosi. So Pelosi, during a news conference, literally at one point described herself as a devout Catholic, and then a sentence later started promoting abortion through federal funding. And Nancy Pelosi's Archbishop came out officially and blasted her, absolutely blasted her. So the headline from the Daily Wire here by John Brown: Pelosi's Archbishop blasts her for citing devout Catholic faith while defending abortion. Here's the letter from the Archdiocese of San Francisco. This is from yesterday. This is from Bishop Salvatore J. Cordileone. Quote, "Let me repeat, no one can claim to be a devout Catholic and condone the killing of innocent human life, let alone have the government pay for it. The right to life is a fundamental, the most fundamental human right, and Catholics do not oppose fundamental human rights. To use the smokescreen of abortion as an issue of health and fairness to poor women is the epitome of hypocrisy. What about the health of the baby being killed? What about giving poor women real choice, emphasis added, real choice, so they are supported in choosing life? This would give them fairness and equality to women of means who can afford to bring a child into the world. It is people of faith who run pro-life crisis pregnancy clinics. They are the only ones who provide poor women life-giving alternatives to having their babies killed in their wombs. I cannot be prouder of my fellow Catholics who are so prominent in providing this vital service. To them I say, you are the ones worthy to call yourselves devout Catholics! Exclamation point. It doesn't get any stronger than that, folks. I mean, in so many words, Archbishop Salvatore J. Cordileone, great name, by the way, called Nancy Pelosi a heretic. I can't wait to see how she wiggles out from under this one. For her to do anything other than buckle, she's basically excommunicating herself. So, we'll see what happens here. I'm looking forward to following Pelosi's response to this. So, a little bit of silliness to end the YouTube section of our Friday event. Nothing more to say than the Cleveland Indians are no longer. After 100 years, they decided that even though 90% of American Indians, Native Americans, First Nationers, whatever you want to call them, 90% of them didn't even give a damn about the Washington Redskins name. That's an actual poll. 90% didn't give a damn. The Cleveland Indians decided that we can't do this anymore. And so Chief Nakahoma is gone, folks. You won't be able to watch the movie Major League anymore without there being a banner describing racism in baseball. Because the Cleveland Indians are now the Cleveland Guardians. What does that even mean? The Cleveland Guardians? What are they, a baseball militia? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Nothing more to say there. All right, good people. Good YouTubers. We are out on your end of the show. Remember, if you want the full show, you got to come to DLive, Trovo, or Twitch. YouTube only gets the first half because YouTube likes to take my channel away from me if I say the wrong thing. They demonetized me months ago. I only even broadcast on YouTube to try to draw people to the other channels. So, do your part. Join up on DLive, Trovo, or Twitch. I prefer DLive. That's where the chat is the most fun. But I get great people in Trovo. Twinquire, most definitely. So, good to go. Oh, no sound? Oh, God. No sound on the, I just saw your chat. Did no one else get the, oh, God. You guys didn't get the, I can't see the chat on DLive, y'all, because of the stupid Brave window not working. So hang on. I'm going to play it again. I'll fix it. I'll play it again. I'll fix it. Give me a second. I will fix it. There's no reason it shouldn't have worked. I tested everything earlier today. No reason it shouldn't have worked, but I will play it again. I'm sorry. There's no reason it shouldn't have worked. Let me see here. All right. Actually, there is a reason it shouldn't have worked. I screwed up. It's my fault, y'all. It's my fault. I could hear it in my ear, but I had it turned off in the sound. Here we go.
The problem with Washington politicians is they have no skin in the game. It's all about them and almost never about us. Well, I'm not a self-serving politician. My whole life has been about service, family, and community. After 9/11, I served as a Navy SEAL in the Middle East. Then I built a thriving business that makes badass bottle openers and employs Arizona veterans. But the most important mission of my life has been raising my 2 daughters with my wife, Jen. I'm so sick of phony politicians and their lame excuses, and that's why I'm running for Congress. Now more than ever, America needs leaders with guts and integrity to solve problems. Securing our border, standing up for law enforcement and our military, strengthening small businesses, cutting middle-class taxes, and protecting the integrity of our elections. It's time for we the people to take our country back. I'm Eli Crane, and I'm ready to fight for us.
I forgot to switch to the video. Guys, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I keep screwing up major.
You're not alone. Someone else who...
I know you guys are very, very kind. You've always been very generous. But I don't know if I should keep doing this if I can't produce at least something along the lines of quality. I really don't have an excuse for what just happened. I forgot to turn my oxygen on last night. I had the cannula on all night, but the oxygen wasn't on. That's kind of you to inquire. That's kind of you. I appreciate it. But so anyway, so enough of all that. Thank you all for trying to let me know earlier. I appreciate it. That was my fault, flat out. But we will be back Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern for another news rodeo. We'll see what I can screw up that time. I know, I'm being hard on myself. But don't forget, the Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5, hard for me to say, Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim stream is going along. I'm picking up new people every day. It's a lot of fun. I got some new today called Glob. Glob Esquire, as a matter of fact. Very helpful. Good job there. And Twinquire has always been a lot of fun, too. Elaine showed up the other day. She's been a great help. Knock, who you've seen in the chat, also a new person, has been great. The stream on the weekend starts at 9 a.m. Eastern, an hour later than during the week. And then Saturdays, they're usually, if I'm feeling up to it, is an afternoon stream starting at 2:30 Eastern. But if I don't get any sleep the night before, I'll let you know ahead of time, and there will just be the morning stream. No more afternoon streams on Sunday. That's out of the picture. I'll be taking the Sunday afternoons off from here on out. Try to recharge my batteries a little bit. Okay, YouTube. Bye-bye. All right, YouTube is